Prologue, the final night of Atlantis. 12,000 years ago. They had been warned never to speak the names. Names implied dominion. Dominion implied control. And control had always been the quiet corruption at the heart of every civilization that believed itself first. Atlantis believed it was first. The sky above the island burned an unnatural green, a silent aurora that flickered like flame but cast no warmth. Its light washed over towers of white crystal and domes plated in hammered gold. Aqueducts shimmered like silver veins through terraced gardens. Airships drifted between spires on currents of engineered ether. From harbor to mountain academies, Atlantis radiated confidence. It was not merely advanced, it was certain, and certainty was always the final mistake. High above the city stood the Temple of the Gate. Basalt columns rose from bedrock older than the island itself. The temple had not been built so much as uncovered. When the first foundations of Atlantis were laid, the monolith had already been there, half buried and waiting. Waiting longer than the city. Waiting longer than the civilization that had uncovered it. Waiting for the moment when probability began to narrow. The high priest stood upon the black dais and looked down at the city he had sworn to protect. For a moment, he allowed himself one indulgence. He searched for the eastern gardens. He imagined his son running between marble colonnades, laughing as the wind caught ceremonial banners. He imagined the harbor at dawn, fishermen arguing philosophy as easily as they cast nets. He let the images settle. Then he released them. This was not fanaticism. It was stewardship. For decades, the scholars of Atlantis had studied the gate. They believed it was a power source, a generator of impossible engines hidden within ancient geometry. They measured it, mapped it, extracted from it. They believed the equations meant they understood it. But the high priest had watched the pattern differently. He had seen the narrowing, possibilities collapsing, outcomes converging, the future becoming rigid. Atlantis was no longer exploring probability, it was fixing it. And the system did not tolerate certainty for long. Behind him, initiates knelt in perfect concentric rings. Their robes were threaded with orichalcum filaments that shimmered beneath the green sky. The floor of the temple was carved with immense sigils, channels and angles so vast that only the heavens could see their full symmetry. Above them, the sky flickered again. The aurora fractured. For an instant, the high priest saw something else beyond it. A vast lattice. Endless hexagonal cells of pale blue light stretching across the firmament. Possibility itself. Watching, waiting. Then, the vision vanished. Beyond the temple colonnades, the oceans withdrew. Not roaring, churning, simply obeying. Fishing vessels tilted on exposed seabed. Sea life thrashed in the sudden air. The war beasts chained along the outer walls strained and howled. Even they sensed a thinning. The world was about to choose. "The hour is upon us," the high priest yelled. His voice carried across stone and sea. "By covenant of the first age, we restore the balance." He did not say summon. He did not say awaken. He said restore. Blades rose, steel-kissed flesh. Blood flowed into the carved channels, tracing ancient geometry across the temple floor. The sigils ignited, not with fire, but with coherence. Lines of impossible symmetry connected. Angles reinforced angles. Patterns locked into place. The air grew tight. Reality itself seemed to draw breath. The monolith did not crack. It unfolded. Space bent inward along invisible seams. The air beneath the arch thickened like glass. And for a moment, the high priest saw it clearly. The honeycomb lattice beneath the world. Millions of possible Atlantean futures flickered in overlapping geometries. Atlantis triumphant. Atlantis conquered. Atlantis expanding across the stars. Atlantis devouring itself. Every possibility existed. Every outcome waited. But the possibilities were collapsing. The system required correction. Far below the temple, the ocean rose, a wall of black water miles high. But the wave was not the true catastrophe. The catastrophe had already begun. Crystal towers shattered inward as if crushed by invisible hands. Airships twisted and tore apart mid-flight. Gold ran molten through the streets. People dissolved before the water even reached them, their forms unraveling into threads of light that vanished into the collapsing lattice. Mountains cracked, volcanoes tore open the sky. The ground folded like cloth pulled too tight. Atlantis did not drown. It was removed from the equation. The high priest remained standing beneath the arch. He felt the immense pressure of the system resolving. Not wrath, not judgment, correction. The inevitable narrowing of a world that had mistaken brilliance for mastery. He whispered the final words of the covenant, not in terror, in gratitude. He had reached too far, and the gate had answered. When the wave struck the temple, he closed his eyes, certain. High beyond the storm, beyond the collapsing island, beyond matter and time itself, two presences watched the convergence. The pattern held. It had held before. It would hold again. Below them, Atlantis vanished beneath the sea. And somewhere within the lattice of possibility, another future waited to be observed.